I am recording. Are you
Welp,
up in the scene?
Nathan.
No.
You Welp us in.
Me? Oh, okay. Welp. Oh! Here's my
What?
dog. My dog's barking.
Okay. Welp, there's your dog on YouTube.
Welp, here we are on YouTube.
Stupid. this is the worst channel. Yes, so here we are on YouTube, Nathan. We are doing a Patreon request from Paul. And hey, Paul, what's up?
What's up, Paul?
He wants us to listen to a band called the Violent Femmes. And like you, off camera, we said, have you ever heard of the band? You're like, yeah, I've heard of them. I'm like, I've heard of them too. I did a quick Wikipedia search of the band. I honestly thought they were girls.
I think there's a part of me that maybe knew that they weren't, but yeah, I would have thought that too.
And I should have known better, considering we're Canadian and we have the Bare Naked Ladies here in Canada. These are the Violent Femmes. They're three guys. From what I understand, they're three guys. The album that Paul wants us to listen to is called Hallowed Ground. Now, he says that everyone knows their self-titled album, which I don't think you and I do. But I guess their self-titled album, their first debut album, was kind of maybe more radio-friendly or maybe more... I'm just regurgitating Wikipedia. Yes, I don't know anything about these people. But it was a little bit more accessible to the public. And they specifically, when they released this album, it wasn't that way. It was, and I quote... This is from the lead singer here and writer, Gordon. He's the acoustic guitar, vocals. And he said that they wanted to... Okay, right here. Sorry, guys. With the multiple albums... Yeah, they had multiple albums ready before they even started releasing albums. So they had this speaking of backlog before, we were talking about backlog before. They had a backlog of stuff ready to go. And they had stuff that they wrote in high school. Oh. And they just kind of like... bleh, onto these albums, and I'm sure they refined the sounds and what have you.
Right.
But very interesting. So they're very young with the second album. He's only 21 at this album. He was 20 when Violent Femmes, the first album, came out. So they're very young individuals. Mm-hmm. Second album. So the band decided to focus on a more pop sound for their debut album, and then confuse people with more experimental songs that ended up on Hallowed Ground. And they stated their goal was to be an unpredictable band.
Well, I like unpredictable bands.
Yeah, so I actually kind of like that too. Where they're like, we've been reviewing a band called King Gizzard, for example, and you could almost argue, and I haven't heard their first albums. I don't know what it sounds like, and I haven't heard this album. But the concept of what they're doing is kind of what King Gizzard does with those who are familiar with that band that listen to us on our channel. Now, they never said they're trying to confuse people, but you would argue that each of their albums is a concept that people won't know what that is really till they hear it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting. But, this is now 84. That's 37 years ago. This band was, and these are young kids. They were already kind of like, yeah, we're going to do that too. We're going to do that first. Our intention is to confuse our fan base. So this album divided the fan base for that reason.
Oh.
So we don't know what their first album sounds like. So we can still be divided on what we think of the album, but we don't have anything to compare it to, is what I'm getting.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so here we go. I think they're classified, Nathan, and here's the only spoiler I'll give us. They're actually classified according to Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. This album is folk, punk rock, country, gospel rock, roots rock.
Wow. I love it.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Okay. Here's Country Death Song.
Turn up a bit. Mm-hmm. I tried so hard. A little bit. I never knew still waters. Nothing down a little bit. To eat and nothing to drink.
thinking and a thinking till there's nothing I ain't thunk. Breathing in the stink till finally I stunk. It was at that time I swear I lost my mind. Started making plans to kill my own kind. Started making plans to kill my own kind. Come, little daughter,
Banjo.
I said to the youngest one, put your coat on, we'll have some fun. We'll go out to the mountains, the one to explore. Her face it lit up, I'm standing by the door.
Getting dark.
Face it lit up, I'm standing by the door. Come, little daughter, I will carry the lanterns. We'll go out tonight, we'll go to the caverns. We'll go out tonight, we'll go to the caves. Kiss your mother goodnight, and remember that God saves. Kiss your mother goodnight, and remember that God saves. I led her to a hole, a deep black well. I said, make a wish, make sure not tell. And close your eyes, dear, and count to 7. You know your papa loves you, good children go to heaven. You know your papa loves you, good children go to heaven. I gave her a push, I gave her a shove. I pushed with all my might, I pushed with all my love. I threw my child into a bottomless pit. Screaming as she fell, but I never heard her hit. She was screaming as she fell, but I never heard her hit. Gather round, boys, to the tale that I tell. You wanna know how to take a short trip to hell? It's guaranteed to get your own place in hell. Just take your lovely daughter and push her in the well. Take your lovely daughter and throw her in the well. Don't speak to me of lovers with a broken heart. You wanna know what will really tear you apart? I'm going out to the barn with a never stopping pain. I'm going out to the barn to hang myself in shame.
Wow, musically, I really enjoyed that. Thematically, gave me the heebie-jeebies, but musically, I thought great sound, great like obviously a little bit of parody of country almost, and not poking fun at country so much, but like using that as a way of telling the story, and thematically it was a little disturbing.
Well, yeah, I think that's the idea. It's they're the violent femmes. They got to throw their daughters down wells. Yeah, it's a very dark song, and so it's very, very dark imagery, and it's interesting to have that. kind of that old Barney, don't, but it's yeah, I guess it's a tragic tale of like murder, and but that's what makes art. Obviously, they're not advocating throwing kids in a well. This is an artistic journey of some sort. I'm not sure what the story behind the song is, if behind the writing, but he wrote this in high school apparently. So a lot of these songs came out of high school. And of note, this should be interesting. I think we should read this, Nathan.
Okay.
So for this, well, I'll just paraphrase again. So I think Brian, the guy that we're hearing there, written by Brian, I think he was Christian, and the other two band members were atheists. And in this album, we could see where it might be some conflicts. But originally, the other two guys were like, "We're not doing any of these songs," and because of the Christian overtones, and they're like they're like, "No, we will not." And I think they kind of agreed to do it because of the success of the first album that wasn't like this. So kind of interesting right away. I don't know the history of these guys. I think it'd be kind of interesting to hear the history. I did a quick little search of like future albums, what they got rated. A lot of stinkers. They had a lot of stinkers later. And I don't know what the story is behind those, but it seems like their first few albums were really solid, reviewed by critics. So interesting. I always find that interesting what happens to bands. And they were very young here. Again, they're so young.
Yeah.
You think how young 21 is.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see, like I know when we were 21, I know everything. But
well,
but now
they were even younger before, right? Because you said some of these songs came from like.
Well, it just mean their behavior. But I'm not going to sing on this album or I'm not going to play on this album because it's already that young kind of like bickering. And not that adults don't bicker when they're in their 40s, but it's just interesting, the little history we know. But let's keep going into the next song. So that was I really like that song, by the way. I just really liked it. Yeah.
Cool.
I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain.
Bury me out on the lone prairie, prairie water washing over me. Bury me out on the lone prairie, friendly calls of a coyote. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain. Bury me out in a lone city, sewer water color of my tea. Bury me out in a lone city, sewer water wash my daughter down to the sea. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain. Sit and watch it right now, I think I go insane. She used to sit and watch it right now, I think I go insane. She used to sit and watch it right now, I think I go insane. She used to sit and watch it right now, I think I go insane.
I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, gotta kill the pain.
Bury me out on the lone prairie, friendly calls of coyote. Bury me out in lone city, sewer water color of my tea. Bury me out in lone city, sewer water wash my daughter down to the sea. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain.
Very clever, very well done, and obviously the other guys were singing with him there. That's August with the different vocals. I'm digging this so far. I can see why not hearing the first album. I'm just envisioning how this album is sounding. Why it might throw off, like what the other album might sound like. It might be an interesting investigation to go back and listen to the first album to see why this album might have divided fans from the first album, if that makes sense, to go backwards.
Yeah. What's interesting is now I'm getting the concept. I don't know why I didn't pick up on that from the very beginning, right? That that last song is like the character kind of losing his mind now and starting to like think about his daughter and very like it's almost like an exploration of this character's descent into madness, I mean, anyway, I didn't pick up on that until I got halfway through the song and I went, oh right, this is the same character.
So I got the quote here. So Gordon Gano, he seems to be the main writer, probably the main vocalist, right? The acoustic player and bass player, the guy that does all the other instruments. Well, they all kind of share a lot of stuff. They all share like, so Brian does vocals, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, violin. Brian does acoustic bass. Oh, there you go, electric bass, celesta, marimba, the Jew's harp, and vocal work, which we just heard on track 2 there. So he does do that background vocal. They all share the vocals. And Victor De Lorenzo, he's the tranchiaphone, acoustic electric drum kits, and so he's the percussion. So 3-member band. So the bassist, essentially, Brian, was very aggressively anti-anything Christian. He said he didn't want to be playing in the band that was expressing something that he felt so vehemently against. So that was how he felt it. So the Christian-related lyrics on this album were thought by some to be ironic, despite Gano being a devout Christian. So I guess they thought they were being ironic with the lyrics. So it's not the case. So whatever Christian lyrics we hear or listen to is actually not ironic, and that's why the bassist was like, come on, man. Yeah, so it's just interesting. Yeah, this is I'm finding this album very intriguing. So the next song is called Never Tell.
Never Tell. Okay, I'm like pre-reading the lyrics a little bit and
oh boy,
getting that kind of sense of what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Hey sister, have you heard? Some people stand like trees without a word. And what that means is that some people don't talk. Oh, please pardon me, mister. You know, I just didn't hear you that first time that you said that. But now that you repeated it for me, I'll be sure to do what I can. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do what I can, do what I can, do what I can, I'll do what I can, do what I can, do what I can. But no more, you understand? Oh, please pardon me, Father. You know, I just didn't hear you that first time that you said that. No, but no, you repeated it. I was do what I can, do what I can, do what I can, do what I can, gotta do what I can, do what I can, do what I can. But no more.
Great drums and bass right now.
It's of utmost importance, we're dealing with volatile substance. It's of utmost importance, we're dealing with volatile substance. It's of utmost importance, we're dealing with volatile substance. It's of utmost importance, we're dealing with volatile substance. I've had so much on my mind, I was so glad when I died.
That was nothing like I thought it was going to be. Like, I'm blown away, quite frankly. It's just very interesting.
I think I had a sense that it would be kind of like this, but
Listen to me, baby.
But it's 84, Nathan.
Secret for me.
what?
Yeah, this is 1984.
Make sure no one finds out.
Why did I think this is like late
'Cause then the
90s?
lights will go out.
Holy cow.
That's what I mean. 84.
I will find you out.
Like this is before
And I
a lot of
will cut
stuff.
you up.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna say after. We'll wait.
Don't ask me why, because I said I'm gonna do what I can, 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 do what I can. But I'll have none of that. You understand? Don't you know nothing? You never tell on someone. Don't you know nothing? You never tell on someone. Don't you know nothing? You never tell on someone. Don't you know nothing? You ain't never gonna tell on someone. What are you gonna do? You're gonna turn rat think. What do you wanna do? You wanna see? Wanna see what it's like to sink? Sink down, sink down, sink down. Down, down to the bottom of the river, sink down, sink down, 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 down to the bottom of the river, sink down, sink down, 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 down to the bottom of the river, sink down, sink down, 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 down to the bottom of the river. Don't you know no one? You never tell on someone. Don't you know no one? You never tell on someone. Don't you know no one? You never tell on someone. Don't you know no one? You ain't never gonna tell on someone. I tell you what it's like. I tell you what it's like. I stood right up in the heart of hell. I never tell. I stood right up in the heart of hell. I never tell. I stood right up in the heart of hell. I never tell. I stood right up in the heart of hell. I'm never gonna tell. I'm never gonna tell. Nothing gonna tell. I'm never gonna tell. Nothing gonna tell.
That's a cool sound right there. Almost like ska.
That was a wicked song, man. Like, I'm legitimately surprised and impressed by this album so far. It's just the third track. This album came out in 1984, Nathan.
Yeah.
84.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's very telling because, I mean, the bass lines that they're playing, the chunkiness of it, the mixture of like death country with punk and rock and long songs, short songs, harmonies. They're all over the place in a very incredible way that I don't know what bands are doing this in 84. And I think that, okay, there's a part in the song where I guarantee you Rage Against the Machine listened to these guys. And that's what I was going to say.
Oh.
With the part, I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what you tell, you know, that repeating thing. I forget which song it is, like Bolts on Parade or something. There's a part in the song that sounds just like Rage Against Machine song. It's almost verbatim the same, but it repeats itself like that punk song. And it was like, this is, if Rage Against the Machine must have listened to these guys. There's just no way, because 84 was, well, I think it was well before Rage. I could be wrong. I don't think, you know, and I think
so too. Yeah.
That's interesting. Because I know they were, I'm guessing. I mean, look, people, you know, sometimes don't mean to. I wonder who these guys have influenced, because there's some sounds here that are just very Faith No More, Chuck Mosley days.
Yep. I was thinking that in one of the other songs. Yep.
And guess who? The record company is the same record company that did Faith No More's earlier records. Slash Records.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah. So anyways, I'm just sorry. I'm talking a lot here, Nathan. I'm sorry. That song just really excited me.
Yeah. I'm kind of taking it in piece by piece, and I'm also doing a little bit of side research just as we go, just to kind of get the bigger picture. But yeah, I like that song a lot.
And it should be noted that they stayed together as a threesome for quite a bit into their career. Like the drummer Bill Lorenzo didn't leave the band until about 2013, and they just released an album in 2019. So they're still an active band. They've still been doing things. Like I said, they seem to have a lull in their career a little bit, where they're releasing albums, at least critically, that didn't quite get the love that the first 3 or 4 albums did. So I mean, every band goes through that, but it seems like they had quite a bit of a dip creatively. Maybe I wonder why. Maybe people in the comments can tell us on YouTube. But because so far I'm digging this right away. It's speaking to me for some reason. All right.
Okay. There we go.
Oh my,
Jesus walking on the water.
my, what if it was true? And oh my, tell me, is it true? Did he die upon that cross? And did he come back across? Jesus walking on the water.
Easy. Get nothing like the other song.
Took my hand, raised me up, and he brought me up. I can hold my head high. Will I be true to my birth? And will I give what I'm worth? Oh yes sir, I come when you call. And yes sir, Jesus my all in all. Jesus walking on the water, sweet Jesus walking in the sky. Sinking sand, took my hand, raised me up, and he brought me up. I can hold my head high.
I can see this might be the song that the one dude probably.
What if it was true?
And
Tell me, is it true?
did he
Die upon that cross.
and did he
Come back across. Jesus walking on the water, sweet Jesus walking in the sky. Sinking sand, took my hand, raised me up, and he brought me up. I can hold my head high.
Yeah, my guess is that's probably the song that the other two were a little like, are we?
Yeah. Keep in mind. So yeah, Brian, the bassist, he was interviewed in 2018 about this album. So he's older now. This is like 30 years later,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is, and 34 years later. And he said that people hated the album.
Oh,
They
yeah.
hated it because there was a few Christian songs on there. Gordon, who we talked about, Gordon's father was a minister, so that was something he was into. And don't forget how young they were, right? So, but
Yeah.
Richie was 24 when this album came out, so he's a little bit older. But he was 24. He goes, Vic and I weren't religious. So Vic and the drummer and the bassist weren't religious. He says, but we thought it was funny So it goes, but we thought it was funny to play those songs for a punk crowd and rub them the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of punk to do, right?
Yeah.
He says, to me, it's more punk to defy your audience than to play what they want to hear. But we lost our audience. But he says, but we lost our audience that way. Ironically, we had the material for both albums. We could have put out a double or put Hallowed Ground first and then the first album, but we chose to make the first one a pop album and chose to make Hallowed Ground the sprawling exploration of American roots. We're not considered in the American category. And Richie, the bassist, went on to say that Hallowed Ground was the band's favorite album.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
There you go.
So there was kind of a intentional, let's stir things up with this. That was sort of what I thought. Like, a lot of times when you see any kind of religious music make it into the mainstream in any way, there's like a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? It's like there's stuff there that's intended to kind of to get at you, but then there's other things that are like, I don't know how to explain that well, but like the one that comes to mind,
I can tell.
The one that comes to mind is YouTube often does that, where it's kind of there's a double meaning in it, and they don't come right in your face at all. They don't like explain it in your face about this is what this means. You're so dirty.
Well, you changed it. You actually
I watched the smile creep up on your face. Anyway. Anyway,
why did anyone come to our channel? Okay, I'm ready.
Long story short, God music, two way.
All right.
I know it's true, but I'm sorry to say.
I know it's true, but I'm sorry to say. Yesterday's a day away. Nothing I could do to make it stay like that. sorry to say, yesterday's a day away.
Well done. I mean, it's a quote unquote slow song and beautiful, haunting lyrics. I love I love the way the singing was. Dun, dun, dun. I just like the way it bled into each line at the end there. And again, I don't think this other band, I'm going to say, copied this part, but I don't know how you familiar are with U2's Zooropa album,
Mm-hmm.
The Wanderer that Johnny Cash sings at the end there.
Yeah, yeah.
I go out walking with the Bible and the gun. Dun, 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 dun. That
Yeah.
sounded just like that. Again, similar. It's just
Yeah,
these guys,
I
though.
can hear that. Yeah,
Yeah. So
it's funny because I'm kind of like I'm thinking about like, okay, if I was listening to these guys for the first round and how whatever I thought of them the first round, if I listened to this, well, how would I react? Well, my gut reaction to this particular song is, and I'll be honest, is a little boring. Like, it was a little too slow for me.
I was wondering if you were going to think it was boring, and I wonder if people would. I don't know why it didn't find like I get why people would find it boring, but I don't know why I didn't find it that way. I don't know why I didn't find it that way.
But I'm like, I guess I'm trying to get more in their head and go, well, why are they being this way? And kind of like the last one, maybe it's intentionally to just stir people up and go,
Yeah,
we had a really poppy sounding last album, and here's one that's a little kind of,
yeah. I don't.
you know what I mean? Like, perhaps for that reason alone, just to like see how people get uncomfortable hearing it.
See, that's the danger of me. Nathan and I have gone back and forth, and some songs we do research, some albums we do research, some we don't. I mean, had we gone into this not knowing anything and just
Right.
listened to it as a music, that's another exercise, right? But for me, I'm almost going to say I think they had. I think honestly, I think they just knew they had a better album. I think at the end of the day, I haven't heard the first album, and it sounds like it was successful by critics and fans. I'm just saying what I'm listening to right now. It sounds to me like these young kids, I think they had more to say. And I feel like there's some deeper stuff going on here. And I think they even might be using we wanted to say, screw you to the punk people. Or I think they were kind of like maybe at this moment in their lives, young career, it's just their second album. I think they just had something else they wanted to do. And they were just brave enough to do it regardless of whatever the other album was.
Yeah.
I don't think they're intentionally trying to be born in the song. I think it's just a nice little slow song. I think it's again, the lyrics are really important to the sound of the song or the pace of the song.
Oh yeah. No, you can't listen to that song and avoid the lyrics.
Yeah.
I just was kind of like, I don't know, just that song was not my cup of tea. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. You're supposed to react. Honestly, I'm sucked into this album. I think I'm just blown away that I know I keep saying it, but this came out so long ago, and it sounds nothing like an '84 album. Like we were around in that time. I'm just blown away by how ahead of its time this album is. It's impressive, and again, it's impressive how young they were to write this kind of depth in compositions. It's All right, next song.
Okay.
The
It is
prophet
called
is a fool.
Hallowed Ground.
The spiritual man is
track.
mad for the multitude of thine iniquity and the great hatred.
He sounds young here, yeah.
Everyone's trying
great mix. Incredible.
No matter what they decide to have done, burn up the clouds, block out the
Interesting drumming.
That's kind of a punk thing to do.
Yeah.
I think.
they can't bring down. My soul is in hallowed ground.
Yeah, this sound right here,
Yeah.
well ahead of its time. Like this is folk music of mid 2000s, right? 2010. Yeah.
I see the fear, it's on the right. Let's catch the enemy by surprise. Bury your treasure where it can't be found. Bury it deep in hallowed ground.
Kind of had a Western kind of feel to it as well, hey?
Yeah. The great bass line, great bass playing. The bass on this, Brian Ritchie, who's bass player, is a great bassist. You can hear his talent at a very young age. I love that chunk, chunk, chunk. It's almost that. I'm not a musician, obviously, and I don't know instruments very well, but it almost sounds like the pure bass sound. It almost sounds just like no effects. This is what you plug in the bass into your amp. This is what you got, like all your default settings. It almost sounds like a default setting bass sound. I don't know if that makes sense.
You caught my comment there with the folk kind of sound like that. I don't know exactly when it became like super trendy, but it sure became like it kind of took over a lot of music, kind of the mid, 2005 and on, and into today. Folk music kind of had a revival.
It's always been around, but yeah.
Yeah, but it had kind of like a revival, and like a lot of people were really supporting a lot more folk music, and that sound there with them, like the doing the like that sound with the kind of minimal guitar and some drums. That would fit right out of that time period as well, which just makes me think like that's when you told me it's 1984, I just couldn't believe it. It's still hard to believe.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Next one.
Next is Sweet Misery Blues. Clarinet.
Yeah, I saw you coming down the street. I could tell by your look that you didn't want to meet. So this time I went away, but next time I'm just gonna have to say, could I buy you a dress I buy you some jewelry or something? Would you go out with me or something? Would you sleep with me or something? Better watch out. If your train's moving too fast, you better look out. If you're living in the past, because that's why you'll never lose these sweet misery blues. That's why you'll never lose these sweet misery blues. Yeah, I'm gonna corner you in an elevator, and you won't be able to put me off till later. I'll put on my charm, I'll tingle your spine. I'll take off my charm, and then you wanna die. Or could I buy you a dress or something? Could I buy you some jewelry or something? Would you go out with me or something? Would you sleep with me or something? You better watch out, 'cause you can't get rid of me. You better look out. Now, babe, don't you see? That's why you'll never lose these sweet misery blues. That's why you'll never lose these sweet misery blues.
Obviously, clever lyrics, clever and dark at the same time, with the blues sound and great harmonies from the band, the backing, well, not backing guys, great backing vocals from the bassist and drummer. And they do good harmony together. And this song is basically a punk song slowed down. Like if you're to speed up, it just this is a punk song slowed down.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I think of the theme of that song.
Well, yes, we know it's 2021. It's obviously everything should be consensual. We understand that.
No, I know. It's interesting. I don't want to get too far off on a tangent here, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Oh yeah, well we get it. Like obviously, this is we're not excusing anything in the sense of this is 1984 written by 20-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they are still punks at heart, probably. So they're being obviously, he tries to smooth this girl over with dress and jewelry, and he's got one thing on his mind regardless. He corners her. We get it. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, we do not advocate the lyrics of the song. Welp here you on YouTube does not advocate the.
I'm not advocating one way or another. I'm just saying, where do I sit with it? Meh. I'm a little. Here's how I think, and this will get you a little taste of my mind. Okay, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. I think that music has a lot more powerful influence over our thoughts than we give it credit. And whether you can argue all you want about like, oh no, it's just about the exploration of this topic and to like point out certain things and blah blah blah, whatever. A handful of people will think that way, regardless. People are influenced heavily by the music they listen to, and then I wonder, is this the kind of music that is on, I don't know, the rapists' playlists? You know what I mean? I wonder about stuff like that. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying like this is promoting all these. I wonder.
Well, yeah. Well, it's interesting. I'm not a psychologist, criminal psychologist, a mental health expert. I hear what you're saying, but I think honestly, Nathan, it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. Because to your point, there was a documentary on Netflix really quickly called The Night Stalker. It's a 3 or 4 part. It's very easy to get through. It's about this serial killer who terrorized, I think it was Los Angeles, for about 10 years or whatever it was, or it was like either a short period of time with a lot of murders, or it doesn't matter. There's a lot. He's like 18, 20 people, and one of the things he listened to was like on his way to murder or somebody was AC/DC's Highway to Hell album.
Right.
And he talked about how that album, now, you know, it got his blood pumping for murder. Okay, I'm just being honest. Like that's in the documentary. It's in the book. I read the book as well. So to your point, I can say, oh, you're absolutely right. Nathan. He listened to Highway to Hell. He's a murderer, and he was brutal. He was brutal at his killing. So I'm just saying, and he specifically said that album got his juices flowing for murder.
And now, I hate it when people kind of point the finger at the music as the problem.
And I just want to make sure that we're not.
I'm
just saying. All I'm saying is,
yeah.
So the chicken or the egg is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I neither. So I would say, like, I just want to throw it in there as like, to what extent, how influential is stuff like this? I always wonder about that stuff.
I don't know, because they can say what did Hitler listen to, what did Genghis Khan listen to, what did
exactly. Yeah. So
anyway. It probably doesn't help. I would say at the very least, Nathan, it's a fair argument. It's like somebody who has an eating problem. Does it help? Like, you could have a piece of cake and I could have a piece of cake, but somebody who might have an actual, like a medically, they're so large that we're saying they're medically unfit, or they need help. Mm-hmm. So obviously, cake is harmful to them. This is a stupid metaphor, but what I'm getting at is it's probably not helpful. So there's probably music. If somebody's on the curve of like, I'm going to hurt somebody, or I'm going to be a predator, there's probably music that would pump them up.
Right.
Yeah. And so Highway to Hell, which I love, great album. I've listened to it for decades. I've never heard of, I don't hurt people, and I don't. I've never been driven. And there's millions. Well, we know there's millions of downloads of that album streamed daily, millions of times, and there's not a million murders. So that's all I'm trying to say is that if music was truly as influential, like on the curve, let's say all the way, well, then the world would be destroyed, because millions of people have heard these songs millions of times. And the crime rates are actually going down throughout the world. And you can so I'm just saying,
all of those arguments I definitely have followed, and we could really go down a rabbit hole here without.
But that's all I know. This is just armchair Ryan. I don't know anything. I haven't studied any papers. I haven't done any studies. I'm just a guy in the Navy. I don't know.
I think it's fair to look at this as like from the perspective of art, and that's where I'm getting with this is like.
I think it's just art. I don't think this guy's a pro fly.
No, I on the side of that, it's more of a like over here is like I'm curious to know to what extent this has been influential on
it may have been. It may have been. People but if it wasn't this song, it was another one. If it wasn't that song, it's another one.
Well, yeah. I hate it when people use things to kind of support their argument with like when you're so biased towards a certain opinion, and if a person was already like it's our right to be able to have sex with girls whenever we want, and very like dominating and all that stuff, that they would be, if they were listening to this as well, it's like, well, yeah, like you said earlier, maybe 20 candy bars a day isn't a good idea,
yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't say this is something you would play at your daughter's wedding. Like we get it, I understand. We're also older too. We have kids. You have daughters. I have a daughter. I have 5 sons. Like we both have kids, and we want to protect everyone. We don't want them to get hurt. Mm-hmm. But as Ryan's concerned, I'm pretty confident I can listen to the song and never commit a sexual crime.
Oh no, I'm not talking about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But are there? Yeah. But are there people that? Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways,
whoa, holy tangent. I apologize. Well, no, I don't apologize. People come to the channel for the banter. I hope.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get serious, guys. Sometimes we get serious. Okay. Well, speaking of controversy, I think the next song might be controversial today's. It's called Black Girls. I haven't read the lyrics or heard the song, but it is called Black Girls. And this, from what little I've read, it might not have aged well. So just be prepared. So maybe this one didn't age well. I don't know. I haven't read the lyrics or anything. It was just the Wikipedia that it's.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Just reading the lyrics.
I know, I read the first lyric.
No, it's not controversial at all.
Okay, I haven't read anything yet. I just read the first line. I'm waiting till he starts singing.
Oh.
Of course, it has like a. Yeah.
I dig the black girls. Oh, so much more than the white girls. I was so pleased to learn they were faster.
Oh no, you can't say that.
Kiss. Ooh, I'm after.
Oh, I see the. Yeah, this one didn't age.
No.
It's my favorite song.
Long comes little faggot white boy. Look for some kind of joy. They come around so queer and quiet, but inside rebel and riot. So I dig the white boys. Oh, so much more than the black boys.
This is old punk. This is punk 101.
Yeah. Yeah. This is very much like stir this up.
Yeah. Stirring the pot. But interesting.
See how many people in the concert put their hands on their hips.
But interesting music though. The horns there and.
That's how I used to play saxophone.
Of course, it has this 1950s swing type down to it. You know, like the Prohibition era type sound.
Called again. I can't remember the name of that.
I don't know.
Dad used to have one of these. I hit my tongue with it. It's not a good feeling.
It's a great song. I mean, like music. I mean.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say contextually, 1984, this is placed right in there to kind of like get people in a bit of a twist. Today, they'd be canceled.
Yeah.
Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I was so pleased to learn that he's inside me. In my time of trouble, he will hide me. I dig the black girls. I dig the black girls. I dig the black girls. I dig the black girls.
So interesting enough, they, I believe some, if not one or two of the band members actually have black wives.
Oh.
So yeah, we're not going to here's the thing. We got to be careful. That's not true. I don't like that term, but I think there's more going on here than just reading surface lyrics in 2021. This was written in the 80s, not to say anything. I'm not condoning anything. I'm just saying, but apparently they're obviously not racist. They married black people. That's a big step to show that you're not racist. If what I read in YouTube comments, because I quickly went to YouTube comments just to see, and of course a lot of the comments from Violent Femme fans where it's like, you don't understand the lyrics and you don't understand Violent Femmes, and so that's again art, and there's poetry and there's novels and there's things where you're just like, you know, we do live in an interesting time, Nathan, as you know, cancel culture term, where if you say the wrong thing at any time now, you could be canceled. But if this song was pulled up and Violent Femmes was playing your town, somebody might say, could you see the song they wrote in 1984? Don't let them come to our city in 2021. So I don't know what but I'd actually would like to do some digging with the band members themselves have spoken to the song and what it means. We know Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose did the same thing. He wrote a song in on the Gina Lies album, where he used the derogatory term for a homosexual in that album, and I'm sure he would not. You know, we know that they've reissued some albums where that was not on it anymore because of that. So I mean, it's like when you're in your 20s, I've said stupid things too. I just never put the record. I never recorded it. I didn't write it down. I've said some stupid things in my life, but that being said, they do dig black girls. That's what they're saying. They like them. It's obviously the derogatory term about.
Sure. Yep. All of that.
You can't say that. You can't say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't write that. I guarantee these guys wouldn't write that today. They wouldn't write that today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it goes without saying. I don't think they're older than we are. They're in their late 50s, so I don't think they're writing that today.
Yeah. I'll avoid an entire discussion there and just say, yep, I agree with what you're saying.
I didn't say anything wrong, did I? I didn't say anything wrong.
No, I don't think you said anything wrong at all. I'd really just, it's reflecting on comments I've made already on this album, and I don't want to repeat myself.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, these last two, I guess you could say the last two lyrically have challenged us, and maybe that's what punk is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Maybe it does give the middle finger to society, to norms, to you can't say this. Oh, yes, we can. We just did. You know, and that's but then you could say, as an audience, well, I don't want to listen to it. Okay, well, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I like the music of it. I know it sounds like I'm I'm not trying to save it, but I did like the razzmatazz of John Zorn playing the horn, very famous brass player, horn player.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Faith No More, he's worked with Mike Patton on some albums. Great jazz section. I liked it, but I mean, yeah. One in a Million by Guns N' Roses is a great song, but there's some derogatory terms in it. Like, it's weird, you know. You're like, do I hate everything because do I throw the baby out with the bathwater? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think from a mature perspective, it's easy to acknowledge a lot of the things that we're talking about. I don't worry about guys like you and I. I worry more about the ones who don't put any critical lenses on and just consume. That's where I worry. That's it.
Yeah.
And the Proud Boys.
All right. Oh.
Now who do you think
It's gonna rain.
Well, I built this ark with J-Fish and Manham. But what do you think it's gonna do? when I lived by faith, and now my work is through. It's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I said it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Yes, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I'm so happy to say it's gonna rain. Oh, it's gonna rain on the world today. Now when I am in doubt, and I think that things for me will never work out. But where the heart is true, you know, Lord, your God will never forsake you. Yeah, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I said it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Yeah, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I'm so happy to say it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain, it's gonna rain on the world today. Oh, 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 oh.
Man, either one of them is an incredible harmonica player, or they hired somebody.
Now who do you think I am? Oh, well, I built this ark with Japheth Chapman. About what do you think it's gonna do?
This guy named Peter Belsturi. It's an additional musician, but yeah, they hired somebody to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I said it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Yeah, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I'm so happy to say it's gonna rain. Yeah, it's gonna rain on the world today. 40 days or 40 nights, it's gonna rain. 40 days or 40 nights, it's gonna rain. Hallowed, alright, it's gonna rain. Everybody sleeping tight, it's gonna rain. Oh, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's gonna rain tonight. Oh, yeah, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I said it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Yes, yes, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I'm so happy to say it's gonna rain. Oh, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain on the world today. It's gonna rain, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Yes, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. God said it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. I'm so happy to say it's gonna rain. Yes, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain on the world today. Oh, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Yeah, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Oh, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain.
Ready?
That's the last song.
Noah.
Yeah.
How long can you tread water?
All right, everybody on the pool. All right, so that was a great song. That was a great song. I love the sound of that. I love that kind of, I don't know what to call it, outlaw country blues, and the instrument you're talking about,
gospel.
yeah, gospel. I love gospel music, country gospel music stuff. I don't know why it sounds so good to me. I like that, like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" type sound.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I
the
cut
thing
you
that
off. Yeah, what is-
doing, it's called the Jew's harp. I believe is what it is.
Right. The juice harp. I think you
So-
said that at the beginning, and I was
Yeah, no, it's fine.
forgot it.
Well, I did say it, but I didn't know what that was. I took saw a picture of it, so I'm like, oh, that's the thing that boing boing boing. Whatever. I love doing this album because I love the discussion it brings up. I love how it can challenge us. I love how we can look at it both as you and I were raised in the 80s. They were both born in 75. So the 80s was a very interesting decade for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that we can look at it as 45-year-old adults now look back. That's why people say, "Oh, Ryan, or people might wonder, Ryan, why do you care how old they were when they wrote this?" It's for a couple of reasons. I always like to know what was their maturity level, where were they in their life, age-wise, both for talent and for the lyrics, because lyrics are very telling for people's ages. And then I can be like, "Oh, wow, that's very deep for a 20-year-old. Oh, that's very juvenile because he's 20 years old." So
Right.
a lot of these songs were written from the Wikipedia say a lot of these songs, I suspect Black Girls, was written while he's in high school.
Yeah.
It's a very 1980s, early 80s high school type lyrics, especially for a punk band.
Yeah.
It's almost a tame song. I mean, some of those punk songs, you could not write that stuff.
So some of the stuff that, like, even in the 90s, you and I going to school, some of the things that people would say would get them maybe put in jail these days. But
yeah, and absolutely, Nathan and I are advocates for equality, fair treatment, really just kindness. Don't be a douche.
Yeah.
Don't name call, don't say things. I mean, but we all learn. We are learning as a society, and yes, we have people our age who look at this and go, yeah. It's not about sensitivity. It's actually just about kindness at the end of the day. And I think, I don't want to be called names, and I don't want to be mistreated. Neither does anyone else. And so there's derogatory terms that we just don't say anymore. And I certainly would never teach my kids these terms. So what does that tell you? If you don't want your 6-year-old kid, which I have 2 6-year-old twins, would I want them to hear them say a derogatory term about homosexuality? I'd be horrified.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've heard them curse because of me, and I'm not as but I'm not as horrified, right? Because they're like, I got to watch my sailor language. But to say derogatory terms, yeah, we don't do that in our house. And what does that tell you? If I don't do that in my house, probably shouldn't sing about it either. So I think if you took away those back-to-back songs, what was it? Black Girls, the one before, I forget the name of it. About the the blues song.
Right.
So yeah, I think if you took those 2 off, it would take away our discussion points, which I think are valid. But I think if you took those 2 away, I don't think there's any song I would listen to over and over again, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think that's a good point at the end of this, Ryan, to say we had some interesting discussions along the way as a result of this music. I don't think either of us would take this and now put it on our phones and listen to it while we're working out.
No.
But I think that the way that it has generated some of that discussion, and even to be able to talk about things in the context when they were written, I think that's a whole discussion in and of itself that gets avoided frequently. Is people want to just react to the what they hear and go like, oh, can you believe? And it's like there are so many factors that go into when something gets released. And I mean, us talking about this right now, we're in our 40s. When we're in our if we make it there to our 80s, we'll probably look back and laugh at us at some of the things that we think are
not even go that long, 20 years from now when I'm 65, I'll probably look at 45-year-old Ryan and think, man, you're an idiot. Well, I do that right now. I actually wake up every day, look at the mirror and say, Ryan, you're an idiot. So actually I'll be probably doing it in 20 years.
You might need some help.
Ryan, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, and doggone it, nobody likes you. So anyways, yeah.
Well,
no, that was actually I want to say though, for Paul, I actually really like the album, Paul. I really did like the album, and I like the discussion points that it brought up. I like that it challenged us. I like that it made us discuss things. But for re-listenability, I think I would listen to this again easily. I would have no problem listening to this album again. I think it's a very enjoyable listen, and I think I will have it on my phone, minus those 2 songs. It's unfortunate that the Black Girls lyrics are obviously very controversial in today's, and rightfully so in today's terms. So I couldn't even play that in my car with the kids. I wouldn't want to listen to it on my own. I couldn't sing along with it. So it's just too bad because there's a lot of great jazz section parts in that. And then the other song, the blues song, it wasn't even that great of a song anyway, so it's an easy one to disregard. So the other 7 songs, I think, were very well done, and I think it's a very unique and groundbreaking album for 1984, and it definitely has me curious about what these guys are all about beyond this. Maybe in the comments below, people will educate us and let us know where we're wrong. You'd
play the one about pushing your daughter in the well?
I would. I read Stephen King novels and stuff.
Oh,
so
okay.
like
I mean,
I,
with
I'm
your
a-
daughter in the car.
no, no. It's not that's irrelevant. But no, I just. But I'm a big horror fan, for example. I like. I like horror movies and I enjoy scary movies. They don't scare me, but I enjoy them. But obviously, I don't want to put on a mask and stab people. So, but yeah, you have to know what it is about you that is. Just listen responsibly, as they say.
Yeah, well,
But it was a good album. I liked it, and I like that it's divisive. And maybe that was partly why I was divisive back then. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Well,
there
I've
you
said
go.
my side of that, so that's it. Yeah. Well, we have lots of other places you can check us out. So check us out there. We have Discord and
Yeah, links below.
links below. Yeah, check them out.
All right.
All right. Bye.